All right, 2:30 back on New Jersey today in the Tuesday Tunes at 2 here at WCTC, 732-545-WCTC, or 1-888-545-WCTC. That, of course, Mr. Lucky by Slim Chance and the Gamblers. And we got Mario and E.G., Eric Green, who are here. E.G., that's my man E.G. So, yeah. They're here today. We're going to get another live performance out of them in a little bit, but there's a big show coming up at the Strand Theater in Lakewood. Go to the band's website, slimchanceandthegamblers.com. Get your tickets. It's part of the Backstage Pass series, and it is a great, very unique way to watch a show. But definitely get your tickets, and you're going to have a great time at the Strand Theater in Lakewood with some incredible musicians and songwriters and Slim Chance and the Gamblers. Let's say hello to Pete, who is calling in from St. Petersburg, Florida, and wants to talk to Mario. Hey, Pete, you're on the Tuesday Tunes at 2. How are you? Thanks, man.
Peter Merrigan.
Yeah.
The world has become very small thanks to computers and radio, hasn't it? Oh, stop it.
You didn't have to throw that in.
I knew that was coming, right?
Yeah. Torture.
I will tell you right now, Peter, to just shut it up. You're torturing us up here. We're still being abused by winter up here, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we can manage that, Pete. You know, we're pretty good at squeezing in tight spots. You know what I mean?
Not me. I'm getting my own room. Sorry.
Yeah, yes, we are. You're like the old VW bus. You know, it's the same thing, right?
I've seen your band. Your bass player would take half of that bed.
Yeah.
He's a big guy.
He's
so.
a big man. Pete, it's so nice. What a nice surprise to have you call in from down in sunny Florida. That's right. It was.
That was the bottom line, right, Mario? You were having a good time, right?
Well, yeah, you better. If you suck, you better be having a good time. That's for sure. No doubt about it. Pete Merrigan is a very prolific songwriter, wonderful songwriter, wonderful, and one of the best bands that I've ever heard. I'm not kidding you. They're like, you know, they're considered sort of trop rock by the way we view music up here. But it is, you know, the music is indigenous to Florida, to where he lives, and he's got one of the best harp players in the world, TC, that is, and great guitar player, Lenny Austin, and he's got some great albums. So go to PeteMerrigan.com. Pete, what is your website?
Cool.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
know,
that worked.
I knew there had to be a catch, Merrigan. That's, you would, Pete. I'd be very happy to do it. I play bass for you anytime. We have, you know, actually, people should know that Pete Merrigan is originally from New Hampshire. So when we talk about my history and we say, oh, well, you know, I began playing at the age of 17 in New Hampshire, and the town of Centipede, which is very close to where Aerosmith, that band was. Pete was very good friends with all of those guys way before any of us knew them. You know, they used to summer together at the harbor. Pete, you played drums for them at one point, didn't you?
Well, not when they were called Aerosmith. Joe Perry and Tom Hamilton hired me to play drums while their drummer was off at summer school a couple of times. And we hired Joe to fill in for our guitar player one time. During the days of Gunnison Brook, the band Mario and I were in together, we suggested Aerosmith as the band for one of the pubs we were playing. They told us in no uncertain terms, don't ever send us a band like that.
Wow.
That's true. That is true. They didn't play any cover material. That was their problem. They wanted to stick to what they were doing, which was originals and.
I guess we have the same problem.
Yeah.
Just originals.
It's a plague.
Opportunity.
Yeah, that's
It's a good problem to have, as they say.
Right.
That's right. So.
You guys got a great show going on without me, and we'll let you get back to it. Just wanted to call, love you, Mario, and great to hear you on the air.
Thanks. Great to hear from you, Pete.
Good to see you.
I hope to see you soon. Thank
Pete,
you.
thanks,
Thanks, Pete.
thanks, man. Thanks for calling the Tuesday Tunes at 2 on WCTC. That's cool. I mean, you got, you said these bands go back 70s. How far are we going back with him, for example?
Do I have to say?
Early 70s? Is that fair statement?
People out there are going to figure out
That's
how
fine.
old I am.
That'll work.
Sure
We
you want me
already
to say
know.
that? I'm not so sure I want to give that information
But
away.
talk about how you got started.
Steve Tyler was
Take us back and talk about how you got started in this.
I
So
got started in
Yeah.
about 1965, 66. I'm
awesome.
embarrassed to say, after I saw the Beatles. And I
but
told
you
my
were a
mom
baby.
I needed a bass guitar because I wanted to be just like Paul McCartney. And she got me a bass. And within a short amount of time, I was playing pretty well. And I was, started playing professionally by a year, you
Wow.
know. And so I played around East Orange, where I was, living at the time. East Orange was a great town.
Mhm.
And that's actually where I met Albert Anderson, believe it or not, who ended up playing for Bob Marley so many years later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was kind of a teacher of mine. I learned a lot from him in a couple of minutes, about guitar and about music, But then in 1970, to make a long story short, I knew Peter's cousin who lived in East Orange, New Jersey. She told me that Peter Merrigan, her cousin, who lived in New Hampshire, in Centipede, needed a bass player for their band. And would I like to go up and audition, along with her husband, who was going to go up and audition for keyboards.
Okay.
So they took me up. I was only 17.
Yeah, that's a big jump for
Oh,
a
yeah.
I Yeah.
Just got thrown out of high school, and
Oh, man.
Another story.
I had no place else to go.
Wow.
So I left my job at I was working at the A&P supermarket in East Orange. I left the job, went up to audition, and basically got the gig. The keyboard player did not get the gig,
Wow.
which was
Okay.
a little uncomfortable.
I'm sure.
Because,
Right.
but I got the gig and moved up there lock, stock, and barrel. And they were a full-time band.
Wow.
I mean, back in those days, full-time meant playing 7 days a week and 2 shows on Sunday.
Oh, man.
It could be that, and it was that very often. We were very popular. Gunnison Brook was, and still matter of fact, we have a reunion planned for September 21st, if I'm not mistaken. That reunion will take place in Nashua, New Hampshire, if I'm not mistaken, at the castle, at the Radisson Castle,
Okay.
which is a heck of a hotel, and we'll be playing with the Drifters and
Wow.
another popular area band from that period called Fox, and we're teaming up for that one show only. Be our first reunion in quite a while, but we had a lot of fans up there,
Oh, yeah.
and
As a 17-year-old, that had to be amazing. An amazing experience for you.
it was great. And New Hampshire had a little, we had some real talent in that area. It's almost mysterious how some areas can have more talent than, like Asbury Park, for
Yeah.
example.
There you go.
What's
Yeah.
with that? Why?
Right, and very cool. What I admire a lot about you, Mario, and you've been doing this for a long time, but it seems like you'll spend a couple years with someone, you'll garner a little knowledge or a little wisdom or a little experience.
Better take it in.
Then you'll go and someone else will teach you another thing.
Right.
And that's where you are now in your career and in your life. I mean, you bring a whole bunch of stories, and I can tell just the way you work with the other guys in the band. You got a lot of wisdom that you bring to those guys.
Wisdom
So-
I don't know
That's
about.
wisdom. Oh yeah.
That's
well,
a stretch.
Seasoned, like a fine wine.
It's seasoned.
Right,
That's the
ooh,
word,
wine,
yeah,
now you're
yeah.
talking, Eric.
I mean, a lot of the experience that you've had, I'm sure you apply today and with the band you're in now. So
That could all be said for any of the musicians that and we've talked to recently. The Mark Ribblers and the Lisa Shermans, and so many Sandy Mack, who we're lucky to have in our band, Eric Green. Yeah, we take experience, and if you don't grow as you go along, then
yeah.
you're gonna suck. We have to draw from experience, and you have to,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, I look at Slim Chance and the Gamblers, and it's like looking at an all-star team
Oh,
for me,
yes.
Eric. When I look at the
Yeah.
guys that you get to play with, Sandy Mack,
Sandy
this
Mack,
guy
Sandy
Mario
Storm.
here, you're like, it's got to
Sandy
feel like an
Storm.
all-star
Sandy
team.
Storm's
Yeah, of course,
amazing.
Sandy
I
Storm's
love
like
it.
an all-star team,
No, I
right?
really
It
do
is.
love it. Every time
Yeah.
we play, I love it. We never know where it's going to go. Even though we play, the songs, over and over, they have different highlights every night we play.
Jimmy Grant, who was
Awesome.
with you here last time, amazing
Lisa.
bass player. He's
That's
got a
incredible.
license for that bass. I'll tell you what,
Yeah,
that
he's
thing is.
the only bass player I know. He's got more strings than I do. It's like crazy.
It looks like it came from outer space. That bass that he
crazy.
rolls
You should
out.
say it's a 7-string bass.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
it's very, very. It's a big bass. Yeah. The fretboard
He
is
uses
about
them all.
6 inches. I don't
It's
know how he
amazing.
plays
It's
it.
fantastic.
Incredible stuff. But yeah, Slim Chance and the Gamblers. Find out a lot more about the band on their website, slimchanceandthegamblers.com. Great CD. If you don't have your hands on it already, you're missing out on some great, great music. Just an incredible collection of songs. And you can see them live this coming Friday at the Strand Theater in Lakewood, which is just going to be an amazing night. Get those tickets because it's the Backstage Pass Series, a very unique perspective. We are on the stage with Slim Chance and the Gamblers, and it's a real cool thing to do. So if you're a fan of the band, it is a not-to-be-missed opportunity. Get some details on the band's website, slimchanceandthegamblers.com. 2:40 on the Tuesday Tunes at 2. We'll come back. We'll talk more to the guys. We'll get another live tune out of them, and we got our contest coming up as well. The $25 gift certificate to Christie's and the pair of tickets to the Jam Awards, the Jersey Acoustic Music Awards. And we'll talk about that coming up, too, here on New Jersey Today. On the New Talk Radio, WCTC, the voice of Central Jersey.